So now, uh, today's class we will discuss about Cramer system, Cramer, or you can call Cramer drive. Cramer drive. See, this also similar to your Sherbius drive. It will also recover the slip power. That's the main purpose. So Sherbius drive also, the purpose of the Sherbius drive is to recover the slip power of the induction motor. Cramer drive also to recover the slip power from the induction motor. The same thing. Okay, now here first we will go to conventional Cramer system. Okay, so we will find out now. This is your induction motor. Okay, you are giving supply to the stator. Okay, so induction motor. Okay, so then I will draw the picture here. Okay, then we have this is your DC motor. Here you have a load. DC motor. Power converter. Then we have then we have see the picture here has both electrical connection and also and also the mechanical connection. Both connections are there here. This is what you need to understand. Okay, it has both electrical connection and mechanical connection is also there. Okay, what are these bars? These are slip rings. I hope you know that the rotor of the induction motor, slip ring induction motor, has the slip rings. Okay, and so from here, from here, from here you take the power. From here you take the power. See, recall your the rotor of the induction motor. So the rotor of the induction motor, it's a three-phase rotor. So you have three slip rings. It's a 1, 2, 3. So from the slip rings, you connect to any external circuit. This is what we have discussed. Okay. So, so this connection, this slip rings rotor are connected here first. This is the flow. It is connected here. Now from here, the power which is in the rotor, the power which is in the rotor is converted into, it is converted into DC using the rotary converter. So rotary converter, let me tell you one thing, that it's anything which converts AC to DC. Okay, which converts AC to DC, or you can say like this, that okay. So now I will write here. This is sometimes I will tell you that it is a synchronous motor. Say for example, this is a synchronous motor. Say for example, if it is a synchronous motor, then in that case, or you can take it as synchronous machine. Rotary converter maybe. So just remember now, it's a conversion. It's a system which converts. Okay. So the slip power is coming here. It is converted into DC. You can take like this. It is converted into DC. So now this DC is going to a DC motor. Now this is a DC motor. Okay. So now, so the DC motor needs a field winding. If it is synchronous machine, it also needs synchronous machine, maybe synchronous generator also. Okay. Just imagine this thing, that the combination of the synchronous machine and a system. Okay. So you require a DC here. DC. A field winding, you require a field winding here. Okay. So for the synchronous machine also you require a field winding here. So just I will tell you the flow here. Just see the flow here. Now what about this is that this is coupling. It is mechanical coupling. So you see, here you need to concentrate here, that the induction motor, the rotor side, the induction motor rotor side. Okay. So I didn't draw the load here. Actually, there is a load is also there. Somewhere I will put the load. Somewhere I will put the load here. Let me connect the load here. This is the load. So in this particular Kramer system, what do you find out is that, see the rotor, is, so no, the rotor has electrical circuit and also it has a mechanical circuit. Mechanical circuit in the sense the rotor is mechanically coupled to the load, whereas the rotor electrical circuit in the sense, you know, this rotor terminals are there. Three terminals are there, rotor terminals. Okay, so you will have slip rings are there. So electrical circuit is there, mechanical circuit is also. Mechanical circuit in the sense this rotor shaft is there, that is connected mechanically. Whereas the electrical circuit is there, that the rotor terminals are there, then you can do something there. Now in this Kramer system, this path is there, this entire path is there, which I have shown here. This entire path is connected to the rotor circuit and also to the rotor shaft. This is I will show you how it is. So first of all, the rotor terminals are there. So these rotor terminals, okay, the slip rings you have shown here. These are the three terminals. I can say like this, that this is here, okay, this is here, and another terminal is here. You can take like this red color lines which I have drawn here. The rotor terminals are connected here. Then you are recovering, or you are connecting the rotor circuit to some external circuit. So what it is doing now, the power which is coming through these slip rings, it is going and it is becoming DC. You see here, it is becoming DC here with the help of this rotary converter. So the flow is like this. The flow is like this. This is the flow. This is the flow. Don't confuse with this flow. This is the flow which I have shown here. So the electrical energy will flow like this. It becomes here DC through this rotary converter. Now this DC will go to a DC motor. Then what do you expect now? The DC motor will produce some torque. It's important. So now this torque, the torque produced by a DC motor, is connected mechanically to the same induction motor. The induction motor which is there here. So the rotor of the induction motor once again is coupled to the rotor of your DC motor. So it means the torque produced by the DC motor, the torque produced by the DC motor is going to the induction motor once again. So that the load here has two torques. One is because of the induction motor, one is because of the induction motor rotor, the other is because of the DC motor. So the load is supplied by two torques. One is from the DC motor, the other is from the induction motor. Okay, so this is the difference between the Scherbius drive and the Kramer drive. In case of the Scherbius drive, what did you find out? In case of the Scherbius drive, the power which you collect from the slip rings, it goes directly through the bus bars. Recall, 3 bus bars were there. So it goes directly to the bus bar. The slip power which you connect here, you convert that into DC, then you convert once again into AC, then you have a transformer, then through the transformer it goes to the bus bar. That what you have seen in case of the Scherbius drive. But this case there is a little bit difference. What is the difference here is that the slip power once again you are converting into torque, and that torque is connected to the same induction motor once again. So here how you see this, the slip rings are there here, it becomes DC. Okay, once it becomes DC, what did you find out in the Scherbius system? After DC you convert this DC into AC, then that AC is coupled to the bus bar. This you have seen. But here it takes a different path. In this case, what is the different path is that DC goes to the DC motor. Now this DC motor will produce a torque. That torque is connected to the induction motor once again. So the induction motor is recovering its slip power in the form of torque. The induction motor is recovering its slip power in the form of torque. So the torque produced by this DC motor and also the torque produced by induction motor, both torques will go to the load. So depends upon the load torque, the induction motor will decide how much it has to produce. So the power you are recovering in this way, unlike your Scherbius system. Okay, this is conventional system. Then we will go to static Kramer drive. So static Kramer drive in the sense, okay, so static Kramer drive. Next one is static Kramer drive. Okay. Same thing. Here you will use the static devices. Static device in the sense electronic devices. If supply you connect to the supply you connect to the state. Rotor is there. So you take the rotor power. Now here you find out a little bit different. That is, you will find out the devices. Power electronic device you will find out. There is no other difference, but the principle remains same. What is the principle? The slip power which you recover here, the slip power which you recover here, it goes directly as the torque to the same induction motor. That is the principle of working here. The same principle will be there here, except in place of some machines, you may have some power electronic systems. Rotor is there. Then you have a DC motor. The DC motor is connected like this. Okay, so it is LD is there, just like you have seen in the Sherbius system. The same LD is there, so the current here is ID. You try to maintain this current constant. Then you have field circuit for this DC motor. Then this is IF. So what you are doing here now, the slip power you are collecting here in this direction. Then this AC power is traveling through this rectifier. Now I hope you know this is a rectifier, diode bridge rectifier. So this is a rectifier. So this rectifier, okay, output DC is traveling through your inductor. So you try to maintain the current constant. Then that DC is connected to the DC motor here. Then what this DC motor does now? It generates a torque. It produces a torque. So that torque is coupled mechanically to your induction motor. This is what you find out. I did the mechanical coupling here. That's it. Okay. So this is static Kramer drive. So what is the power flow? You see here now. You collect the supply from the three-phase bus bar to the stator. Then you know very well what happens in the induction motor. Then the rotor terminals, the power from the rotor terminals, you will collect and you connect to the rectifier here. It's a diode rectifier, remember. So now you know the difference between diode rectifier and the thyristor rectifier. If you have thyristor rectifier, you have an option. What is the option if you have thyristor rectifier? The option is that by changing the firing angle, you can use this thyristor rectifier either as a rectifier or as a load commutator inverter. It depends upon the value of alpha. If alpha is less than 90 degrees, you can use that as a rectifier. If alpha is greater than 90 degrees, you can use that as load commutated inverter. Okay. So, but here the diode rectifier you have selected. Okay. Now you have the option that you can change this into thyristors also. It's not a problem at all. Okay. Then you have more facilities. You have more options in your hand to control the power. So then after the diode rectifier, what do you find out after the diode rectifier? Okay. You see after the diode rectifier, the power flows like this. So you will get DC here, and that DC, of course, it's a pulse DC you will get. Then you pass through this large inductor value. Then it will maintain the current constant. Then that DC will go to your armature of your DC motor. I hope you know this is DC motor. Okay. Then of course you have separate supply for the field of your DC motor from here. Okay. Then DC motor will produce the torque. So this torque is coupled, once again it is coupled to the induction motor. So the torque which is produced here, you are sending the torque produced by the DC motor to your Kramer drive or your induction motor. You are directly sending the torque produced by the. So how you are getting the torque here? Because you are giving the supply here. How you are getting the supply? You are getting the supply once again from the rotor terminals itself. So the slip power you are collecting and you are sending back to the induction motor in the form of torque. In the form of torque. So then obviously this is coupled to any load, as it is coupled to any load. So as you are getting an additional torque from the DC motor here, so you don't need to supply more torque from the supply. See, from the supply you don't need to give much power. Okay, because now the torque you are generating from the DC motor, you are directly coupling to the induction motor so that it goes to the load. So the load now takes both power from the induction motor and also from the DC motor. Both the torques will be there here. Okay. So this is the static Kramer drive. Now there is another one. There is another one. Modified static Kramer drive. It is also static Kramer drive, but there is a little modification here. Uh, so some modifications I will show you here. So it's just a line diagram. It doesn't show much here. It is a synchronous motor. Okay, so it's a diode bridge rectifier. Then we have large value of inductor LD. Then it is connected here. So load commutator inverter, then that goes to the synchronous motor here. Okay, so now see now how it works. Here you have three phase AC. Now see the diagram here. What is the diagram you will find out here is that let's see this now. So this is the load. So you are getting three phase supply to the stator. This is induction motor. Stator is there, rotor is there. So this is stator, this is the rotor. So you are getting three phase supply to the stator. Then the rotor terminal. Now you see the connection here. The rotor electrical circuit is connected to a diode rectifier. This is a diode rectifier. I'll write here rectifier. Okay. Now the power which is here is a slip power. I told you already. So this slip power goes to the diode rectifier. Then this converts AC to DC. Then this DC goes to the inverter now. See, I hope you remember this picture. This structure you will find out, the same structure you will find out in case of the Scherbius drive also. You recall that. So till this connection, it is very same as the Scherbius drive. Till this connection, which connection the slip power is connected to the diode rectifier. Then after that you have this large inductor. Then it goes to the load computed inverter. It's a thyristor inverter. So it's a full converter. It's a full converter. So you operate the full converter at alpha greater than 90. Then it will act as load computed inverter. So this you know. So the supply from the inverter from here, the supply from the inverter. In case of the Scherbius drive, it directly goes to the three-phase supply through a transformer, of course. Through a transformer, it goes. Now here it is the different. I told you the path. What is the different path here is that this three-phase supply, okay, goes to the synchronous motor. So this AC supply, I will say AC. So AC supply. This AC supply from the motor, from the load computed inverter goes to the synchronous motor. So the synchronous motor you are, and of course you know this thing that for the synchronous motor you require a field, you have a field winding also. So that field winding require a DC supply. So this is the field winding. This is the field winding of the synchronous motor. So that synchronous motor field winding you need a DC supply. Okay, you want DC supply here. So because synchronous motor you have stator is a stator or rotor. So it depends upon the size. Okay, for example, the stator in this case you see it's a stator. It looks like it's a stator. So now you are giving DC supply, okay, to the field winding, whereas the armature winding or armature circuit is mechanically armature. You are getting the supply from the load computed inverter. So armature you are getting the supply from the load computed inverter, whereas the field winding you are getting the DC supply from this. Once again, what is this? This is a thyristor rectifier once again. Or I will write here controlled. I will not write thyristor. Rather, I will write it's a controlled rectifier. So from the control rectifier, you are getting the DC. So to the input to the control rectifier is once again the same three-phase AC supply. The same three-phase AC supply will be given to the control rectifier here, thyristor control rectifier. Then you will get the DC out of that rectifier. That DC goes to the field winding of the synchronous motor. So then whereas the armature you are getting the supply from the load computed inverter, then you know the working of synchronous motor. So synchronous motor will generate a torque. So the torque here or the power you can say. So this power PR is the, you can call this power as a recovered power. PR is the recovered power. So you are recovering the slip power here. You are recovering the slip power as torque. Remember now it is as torque because this synchronous motor rotor is mechanically coupled once again to the rotor of the induction motor. So the slip power which is here, it is recovered as torque here. So that torque once again goes to the induction motor. Okay. So whereas the power generated by this induction motor is, or the rotor power here is PM, whereas this recovered power is PR here. So both the powers or both the torques will go to the load. So what is the load here? This is the load. So load has both powers, PM plus PR. PM is the power from the induction motor, whereas PR is the power from the synchronous motor. So here, what is the modification here is that simple modification compared with the previous one. What is the modification you find out here? There you find out DC motor, here you find out synchronous motor. That's the main modification. There is no other. And of course, for the synchronous motor, as you require AC, you connected another full converter and you operate that as a inverter. So these are the two differences, and remaining things are same. Okay, the previous one and this one. Okay, so it depends upon controlling of this load. Okay, so once again I will repeat this here. What is there here? It is that you are getting the three-phase supply to the stator of the induction motor. Then the rotor electrical circuit is connected like this through a rectifier, then through the inverter, then to the synchronous motor. Then the synchronous motor will produce torque, and that torque is once again coupled to the rotor of the same induction motor. So as the rotor is coupled to the load also, so the load you are getting two torque, one torque from the synchronous motor, other torque from the induction motor. So the torque equivalent power representation we have given here, it is PM, whereas the recovered power is PR. And so the total power is PM plus PR. This is a modified static Cramer drive. Okay, I hope with this Cramer system is also over. Okay, so we'll do one thing, that solve a numerical problem here. Okay. See, the numerical problem which I am solving, it is for both Share-based drive and Cramer drive. Okay, so I will write circuit a three-phase 50 Hz star connected 970 RPM 6 pole induction motor has the following parameters. Refer to the stator. The values are R1 is equal to 0.2 ohm, R2 dash is equal to 0.15 ohm, X1 is equal to X2 dash is equal to 0.4 ohm. The stator to rotor turns ratio, that rotor turns ratio is 3.5. The motor is controlled by static Cramer drive. Cramer drive. The driver is designed for a speed range of 30% below the synchronous speed. The maximum value of firing angle. Firing angle is 170 degrees. Calculate the following. A, what is A here is that the turns ratio of the transformer. Of transformer, the torque for a speed of 750 rpm, for a speed of 750 rpm, alpha is equal to 140 degrees. Okay, so this is the question. So first of all, we'll see a three-phase 50 Hz 970 rpm 6-pole has the following parameters. So he has given the parameters referred to stator. So all are referred to stator induction motor parameters. The stator to rotor turns ratio is 3.5. The motor is controlled by a static Kramer drive. Now, see, in place of static Kramer drive, you can have static Scherbius drive also. So the operation does not change much here. Okay, the you will find out the only difference. What you find out is that there you just have a transformer there. Okay, whereas here you don't have the transformer. Of course, you don't have the transformer, but he said in the problem, of course, why we'll see that. How come the transformer here? Okay, the driver is designed for a speed range of 30% below the synchronous speed. Okay, so you can call this thing is that you are controlling the speed below the synchronous speed. You can say like this, because in case of the Scherbius drive, we have seen subsynchronous speed and super synchronous speed. So you can assume here that as this 30% below the synchronous speed, so you can assume that it is a subsynchronous speed. Okay, the maximum value of firing angle is 170. Calculate the following. Okay, this is what you have to calculate. So to calculate this, first of all, how comes the transformer here? First of all, you must understand this thing, that how comes the transformer here? Okay, so the transformer you can connect here. Here you can connect. You may have a transformer here, just like your Scherbius drive. There, after this inverter, you have a transformer. What is the purpose of this transformer? Is that to step up the voltage. Why do you need to step up the voltage here? The simple answer is that because the voltage which you generate here may not be suitable to the synchronous motor which is here. That's important. It may not be suitable to the synchronous motor voltage rating. Whereas in case of the Scherbius drive also, we have seen the output of the load commutator inverter, that is the voltage value. Okay, it may not be same as the bus bar voltage. So some bus bar voltage is there. So this is a bus bar. Some bus bar voltage is there. So this bus bar voltage, okay, that's what I'm saying, that the bus bar voltage may not be same as the output voltage of the inverter here. So you need to do some voltage conversion here. So then you use a transformer. So you set the transformer turns ratio in such a way that its voltage is equal, the output of the transformer is equal to the voltage of your bus bar. So this is what the same thing here also. You may need a transformer to match the voltage of the synchronous motor. So that is one reason why you need a transformer. That is the one reason why he's asking in the question that the turns ratio of the transformer. So you must think that where exactly you will find the transformer. Obviously, you will find the transformer here itself. Like I have discussed in case of your Scherbius drive, here you have A, the turns ratio. Turns ratio is there. Okay. So whereas the turns ratio here is AT, this we have discussed. A means stator to rotor turns ratio, whereas AT means, what is AT here? Secondary to primary voltage. So it is secondary side here, it is primary side is here. This is a transformer. Secondary side, primary side. So secondary voltage divided by primary voltage is 80. So this is turns ratio of the transformer, or this is turns ratio of the induction motor, stator to rotor. So this we have taken even in case of the Scherbius drive also. Recall that. And one more thing is that this circuit up to this circuit is very same as the Scherbius drive. There is no change. You see there also you have the rectifier, then you have the inductor, then you have the inverter, then you have the transformer. So same is there here also. So as it is same, whatever the equations we got there, we can use the same equation here also. So what is the equation we got there? You just recall one important equation we got. S is equal to minus, okay, A by AT. Of course, you take this as plus only, or you put minus only, no problem, because the angle is something different, cos alpha. This is the equation we got there. So we have to find out AT now. That is a job we have to find out AT here. So how to find out AT? So how to find out AT? So to find out AT, what we require here? We require A, alpha, S. These three we require. Okay, so slip we require. What is the slip? What is alpha? And what is A? These three we require. Now we'll go to the data. In the data, he has given few things. In the data, he has given few things that. What is the thing he has given? Slip, alpha, A. First, I think we directly find out the answer A. That is 3.5. Okay, we'll put 3.5 here. Then what is slip? What is alpha? So he says one important thing, that the driver is designed for a speed range of 30% below the synchronous speed. 30% below the synchronous speed. So he said that, so the speed range of the driver, in the sense this induction motor speed is 30% below the synchronous speed. So in the sense ns minus nr, this is how much change. So this is the, he said below the synchronous speed. It means ns minus nr, synchronous speed minus rotor speed. It will be 30%. 30% of what? 30% of the synchronous speed. So it means you can get like this. From this you can get the slip here. Ns minus nr by ns is equal to 0.3. Okay, so this is your slip here. Okay, so you got the slip here. Just see this now. So slip is equal to ns minus nr by ns. He said in the problem that it is 30% below the synchronous speed. So the synchronous speed minus rotor speed difference is how much? 30% of the synchronous speed. So from this simple statement, we can say slip is equal to ns minus nr by ns. So you will get 0.3. So we got the answer for the slip also. We got the answer. Now in the same statement, the maximum value of the firing angle is how much he has given? 170. So you will take this one. So the range, maximum range he has given 30%, and the maximum firing angle he has given 170. So we got all the three here. Then we will substitute here. So S is 0.3, that is equal to minus 3.5 divided by 80 cos 170. So cos 170, you know already, it is negative value you will get here. So 170 cos of that is minus 0.9848. 9848. So into 3.5. This you will get the answer. Of course, minus of minus, it becomes plus. So then divided by 0.3. You got the answer 11.49. So 80, your answer 80 is 11.49. So this is the turns ratio of the transformer. That's it. Now second question, the torque for a speed of 750 rpm and alpha is equal to 140. So what is the job here is that, I will tell the clue here and I hope you can solve yourself. It's not a big thing to understand. Okay. See this now. Please see this now here. So he's asking you to find out the torque. Okay. So to find out the torque, please recall one equation we have derived. In case of the Scherbius drive, this is ID. Okay, this is VD2. You take this as VD1, just giving the names. Okay, and then you recall slip power SPA, SC slip into PAG. What is PAG? Air gap power. So that is equal to, I hope you remember this equation, VD into ID. In this case, VD2, we will take it as VD2 because this is the power which is going here. Okay, so the S into, so this equation we got there. So if you know the PAG here, if you know the PAG here, then I hope you can easily find out the torque, because what is the relationship between PAG and torque? 2 pi nt by 60. So torque into speed. So torque into omega s is equal PAG. This is the equation we got in the induction motor. So if you know what is PAG, we know what is omega s, synchronous speed we know. We can easily find out from the frequency and the number of poles. Then we can find out the torque. That's the logic here. So to find out torque, we need PAG and omega s. Omega s we know. PAG, how do you find out PAG? You will find out PAG from this equation. From this equation, you will find out PAG. So to find out PAG, I need slip. How do you find out slip there? You see in the problem, he has given the speed as 750 RPM. So you put 750 RPM. So what is NS here? 120 F by P you do. So 120 F by P, I think 1000 RPM you will get. Yes, 1000 RPM you will get. So slip you will get directly 1000 minus 750 by 1000. So you will get slip, so 250 by 1000. So how much it is? 250, 0.25. So slip, we got the slip here. Then VD2 ID. How do you find out VD2? And recall that there is an equation for VD2. Okay, if I'm not wrong, it is VD2 is equal. It is something just exact relationship you recall. 3 root 2 by pi into the voltage here. What is the voltage here? It is the voltage here is VL by 80. I think so. Then cos alpha. Yeah, I think this is the equation. Just recall this equation. Okay, there you substitute all the things. Alpha value also he has given in the problem. I think, yeah, 140 he has given. So similarly, you can find out ID. How do you find out ID? Is that you find out the voltage VD1 here, then you may get the answer for ID. So everything you can find out here using the equations which we have derived in case of the Scherbius drive. Then substituting all this, you will get PAG. Substituting PAG here, you will get torque. That's it. So this is how you find out. Okay, and please do it at your home. Okay, so do it at your side. Okay, time is over.